So we're gonna do like a whole Bonners Ferry family.
Yeah,
Nice. Okay,
kind
that's
of a.
good because it's like
I mean,
we'll see the different sides of all that, like with the different opinions within the family too. That's the new dynamic, you know.
I never thought, who would have, I would have never thought this would have been a good idea,
Yeah.
or even an idea. I never wouldn't have thought it would have been an idea, but
You know, there are no bad ideas, man.
it's what the universe presented, right? I mean, this is
Yep.
what's, walked into one store. I met a lady with 28 grandkids, so clearly she's going to be a decent resource, right? So like, I'll see if it works, and it worked out that she was that person, and her family's in, it's going to be interesting.
If you guys make this like a new song for Bonners Ferry, and then it's like even like incorporate a family thing, because now that we know that we're gonna do a family, then maybe you have like a little family
Yeah,
lyrics in there,
now we're talking.
you know. So let's see what we come up with that. That's cool.
Okay. All right, Alonzo.
Yeah.
Okay. You got your brains, bro.
When I was a young boy, I felt free to dream what I wanted to be with my family forever.
Please follow the road for 60 miles. The route includes unpaved roads.
Headed to see my next interviewee, my next session. This is a very young looking great grandmother. She's got 7 kids, 28 grandkids, and 4 great grandkids. I'm leaving my Airbnb right now. I've got everything packed. I feel like I'm ready. She was an absolute incredible meeting yesterday. I just popped into town. I walked into a couple stores. I actually went into her antique store looking for a guitar. And, it didn't take but just a few minutes. And she's asking me, where are you from? And that's a super complicated question with me. And so we had a nice discussion. We chatted a bit more. I invited her to the jar. She invited me to her home. And she's got some incredible wisdom to share with us all. And how did you come to own an antique store?
Well, I've always been a picker because my mom, I guess, and my brother in California. And then when I moved up here, I had an opportunity to have a booth in an antique place and ended up getting that business. And it's been very nice and successful. And I love meeting the people from around the world like you.
I mean, this just randomly walk in the door. You never know. It's like a box, like a Cracker Jack box, I think, sitting behind the desk.
Yeah, and we have a great group of people there. And in fact, I have 2 daughters and 2 granddaughters that's in the store as well, selling their little goods and homemade stuff, as well as their pickings.
There we go. Oh, boy, this is going to go straight. Okay. Has love healed you?
Yes. Growing up, I've had a lot of trauma. I've been abandoned. I've been abused. Found myself alone with a child and trying to survive. And bad choices of men, very abusive, mind controlling, physically abuse. And finally, when I came to Idaho is where my life changed. And the first person that saw me inside for me was Steve, and God took him of brain cancer. And but then you never know what God has planned for you, and he brought Andy into our life, and we've been together now 18 years, most I've ever been with someone. And love, it's his love and Steve's love that helped me love myself and to change my life to where I feel like I'm on a very good path.
How did you get into forestry?
That's just through, working in school and then getting out and working up from the bottom, working with the Forest Service, and just you work hard and then somebody you knows recognize what you do, and then you get a job and move up. And it's not easy the way I grew up, but there is opportunity nowadays. But anyways, it was a hard way when I came up.
The hard way.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's the school of hard knocks, right?
Yeah, well, jobs were tough in the 80s because, there just wasn't a lot of opportunities back then. And that's when we graduated in 87. So there wasn't a lot of job opportunities, coming out of school for somebody with their natural resource degree, and, just it was limited opportunities. So as you basically worked, wherever you could. And a lot of times that was seasonally with the Forest Service or different jobs. And that's what I did. And just, started at one position and moved up. So hard work and you move forward. That's what it is. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah, that there aren't a lot of people willing to do that hard. And so I could see you do get, if you are that person, someone's going to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, basically in the 80s, it was tough. When I finally did get a job, and then, when they posted, a job openings, there'd be a line of people standing for those jobs, 20, 30 people, Don,
Oof.
For one job.
That's scary.
Well, that's how
That's
it was
scary.
back then. Nowadays, there's a shortage of people to do the work, but back in the 80s, there wasn't enough jobs, and people, taking it for granted nowadays, but that's how it was.
We're getting some pearls of wisdom from you.
Well, that's just the way I look at things.
Well, they are. I think I think some of the answers, these first couple of answers, will really help young people.
Yeah,
I think
there's some tough questions, or maybe they're all tough. I don't know.
They're all tough.
Oh,
and that's
Yeah.
and that's why I can't ask them, because
Okay.
they're too tough.
yeah,
they're
I
too
see
personal.
that.
Right.
Okay.
So we use the jar. The jar is I call it not the vehicle, but the jar.
It is a
really,
vehicle.
It's the vehicle.
That's
right?
exactly what it is. It's have tires on there or something.
Yeah,
Right?
it's got those lenses on there. Do you think you remember and focus more on the good part of memories or the bad?
Absolutely the good, because the bad just brings you down. You got to focus on the good things because you're trying to move forward, and you want to know what happened in the bad so you don't repeat it. But I mean, you always focus on the positives, and even with your friends and everybody you're with, you focus on the positives to bring them up. If you have somebody working for you, you focus on the positives. You let them know what they're doing bad, but the positives will bring up their game. It's with anything. That's the way I look at that.
I like that. Even if
Does that make sense? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way I look at it.
Even
maybe.
with, that's a great advice. People you work with, for sure. If you're managing people,
Anything.
right?
Just it
Or
could,
if-
it
as
could be even if you're not working with them, maybe you're playing a game with them, or somebody you're a kid, or a son or daughter or anybody. You try to reinforce the good things they do, and that'll my opinion is the positive outweigh the negative.
Yes.
And I'm definitely a positive person, trying to enforce that portion of things, not the negative.
I like the twist. I like the twist on the answer of just not yourself, but also just your engagement with people.
Well, it's
And,
like a bucket of white paint is positive and black is negative. You throw one drop in it, what happens? That's the way I look at it. The other way, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
I mean, simple, that's the way I look at it. That's as simple as I can put it.
Some of the answers he had are going to help people, and his outlook on life and just the way he is, the person he is. For him, some of the answers seem so obvious, but it's not that way. Those are complex situations that are simple for him because he's in a different place in life than so many people. And I really appreciated the time with him. 10th interview is a gentleman named Jimmy, the son of Cassandra. I don't know anything about him other than what they've told me. He's an outgoing guy, and he's got a great personality, and he's going to be a lot of fun. He'll be funny. So on my way, excited to open up that jar again, shake it up, and get Jimmy's hands in there and see where it goes. It's somebody I don't know, so I'm looking forward to it.
everybody in this town, if you don't own your own business, you drive a logging truck.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I got my hands in on everything. It just you see everybody at work driving logging truck, and then as soon as you head to the grocery store, you see everybody again. It's kind of neat.
At the end of the day, everybody's going home cooking.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody.
What about I mean, out in your, we're sitting out in this beautiful property, just kind of a clearing in the mountain, and you got all these funny stumps laying around. Tell us a little bit about your woodworking.
Okay,
it's not a normal hobby.
No,
or even a craft.
It's pretty neat, and it's taken me to just, it's opened up a lot of doors per se, and it's real neat hobby to have. But like we were saying earlier, I kind of was watching TV and picked it up, got started on watched it on the show, and said, hey, I can do that. I can run a chainsaw, and I'm pretty artistic, creative, and whatnot. So one thing led to another. It just clicked. It's homemade, and it's me as an artist making it. Yeah. And I'm kind of pulling ideas from how they are and who they are, and kind of configuring it into a carving so it really hits them, and it touches them there, and I mean they really like it. And so
let's keep going. Great.
That goes a long way in a small town, I tell you.
This question?
It happens all the time.
If you could donate your time tomorrow, what would you do? And why?
Well, yeah. When you know a lot of people, that goes a million different ways right there. It's not if I could, I will donate my time. In a small town, I think this is with everybody too. I mean, if somebody needs a hand, you just get off your ass and do it. I mean, it's gonna come around, and it always does.
You'll need help at some point,
sure,
and people will be there. Mm-hmm. This is going to be an interesting question to get in a city, right?
Yeah, because a lot of people are kind of enclosing into themselves, even though there's millions of people around them, right?
Yeah,
but they're just kind of to themselves, and here we are out, in the countryside per se, and we're so spread out, but yet I know exactly what the neighbors are doing tonight and what they're having for dinner.
Yeah,
it just feels good to donate your time too. There's a lot of people out there, like I was saying, they're pretty prideful, and they don't want to ask your help. They'll definitely take your help, and when you just jump in there and don't give them a choice, it just kind of completes you per se.
Yeah,
it gives you, you sleep better at night, I suppose.
I just made it back home. I was hanging out with Jimmy and his wife Marissa, the two kids. Had a nice dinner after Jimmy's sit down with the jar. He's a young man, young family, 32-year-old guy. And again, judging a book by its cover. It's I'm so touched by how much wisdom really everybody that sat down has to share, no matter where they are in life, no matter what their place, no matter their background.
Ken is working on a song called Free Men. It's about him.
Nice.
Also it can relate to us, yeah. Also relatable.
Let's hear some of it.
Yeah.
I just said the chorus.
Yeah.
I'm a free man. So that's gonna be the chorus, I guess.
Stream the Jar podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, or better yet, join myself and the Jar for a conversation in your city.